everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. Have a great crew tonight. Just a programming note, the Sports Exchange will be taking a couple of weeks off. Candy and I are going out to Europe and Iceland. We're going to be heading out to London, Belgium, Netherlands, Norway, and Iceland. I think I got them all right. Got five of them right. I had to make sure I was ready for those five before while I was on the air because I've been figuring out the last 3 or 4 weeks, and I finally got it. Anyways, here's what the crew I have. Willie, the man. Good to have you back, Willie.
Well, that was a pretty cool intro there to let everybody know that you're going to be traveling the world. Good to be back on the Sports Exchange once again. Thank you guys for having me.
Willie is my version of Willie Mays. Every time he comes on here, he hits it out of the park.
That's why I got my Starger jersey on today.
Exactly. That's what I'm telling you, people. He's my Willie Mays. He hits it out of the park. I think that's what way they say it in New England without the R. Wow, whatever. He's Willie Mays, and he does a heck of a job for us. And you know, he's got another famous Willie too called Willie McCovey. They're both home run hitters, and he's a home run hitter. Look at all these Willies that I'm throwing. And in Detroit, they call him Willie Horton too because he's awfully good too. Man, we got three Willies. Look at that. And George, you didn't even have to come up with that Detroit reference. I did. So all right, we got Taylor Phillips is back tonight. How you doing?
Good. Just kicking back and relaxing. That's all I'm doing.
Well, I'll keep you on your heels here on this show. And Jacob Christner is in the house.
Is that a Pirates hat you got on, Willie?
Yes, sir.
Man, you just got signed to a 10-day contract just wearing it.
I'll take it. I need the money, man. I need the money.
There you go. And we got George Eichhorn.
Yeah, that's me. Looking forward to the show.
And lastly, Candy Eblake.
Thanks, Scott, for having me.
All right, well, let's get to it. Busy agenda tonight. First topic, actually, Willie gave me the idea. What the heck? Why isn't Mark Jackson a head coach in the NBA? All he did was lay out the groundwork for Steve Kerr with the Golden State Warriors. Kerr got the rings, and Mark Jackson got the shaft. But I'm going to add a little to this topic because that also begs the question why Brian Billick never got a head job after not winning a championship. And if that's not good enough, what about Bob Brenly, who won a World Series and never got another shot either? Well, the man that came up with the idea, Willie, you can talk about Jackson, Billick, and Brenly on one shot.
Well, Brenly, I don't remember as much about. But Brian Billick, who I thought was a phenomenal offensive coordinator, and then for some odd reason, when he got to Baltimore, they barely could scrape a touchdown or even a field goal together. And then, of course, Mark Jackson. I think Mark Jackson has been blackballed by whoever for whatever reason. I think it has a lot to do with his spirituality. I think that him not getting another shot, and some of these other coaches that have gotten an opportunity, even those that have been recycled, such as the guy with the three first names, Mike D'Antoni, has gotten multiple shots. I just don't understand why. I mean, if you really look at it from a standpoint of what's right and what's wrong, think about the First Amendment right that we all enjoy or supposedly enjoy. Is this an infringement on his First Amendment right? They would never admit it. I think that has a big part to do with it. And I don't know what everybody else's faith is on this panel. I know what mine is. And if I know Mark Jackson in his faith, he's not even tripping. I mean, he's good. He's good. It's just it's just us out here, the talking heads that have a lot to say. But I'm pretty sure Mark Jackson is more than okay.
Well, Mark Jackson, number one, has been in broadcasting for the longest time. He's done all right. I actually met Mark Jackson when he played for the Indiana Pacers when the Pistons were playing the Panthers. One of the nicest people you ever meet. He really is a super nice guy, and he's super knowledgeable too, Willie. He really, really is. I mean, after all, you've heard them on the network. In fact, all of these guys, Brenly, Billick, and Jackson, did well on the air. It's just too bad they never got another opportunity to get a second chance to coach. But they're all championship pedigree type of coaches. So there, Jackson laid out the groundwork for a championship team. Billick won one, and Bob Brenly beat the New York Yankees in 2001, a series that many people were rooting for the New York Yankees, but the Dodgers came away with pride and never got an opportunity, even though Walker laid out the groundwork. At least Bob Brenly finished the job. So all three are excellent coaches. It's just amazing that they have gone out there and had great careers in TV. So yeah, Mark Jackson, he was Stephen A. Smith is trying to go to bat for me. And he can't get him an interview. And Stephen A. Smith has a louder mouth than a lot of people that I know. And I won't mention any names, but Stephen A. Smith is loud. All right. So with that said, Taylor, what are your thoughts?
Well, Brian Billick, him not getting that promotion to head coach from offensive coordinator. My only defense for that is they just don't see him good enough to be a head coach at the current moment. He'll need.
Who are you referring to?
Brian Billick.
Okay.
Yeah, because they think he needs more time and more mental development, but the just the experienced ones know how to do it more. The more experienced head coaches know how to do it more than the never was's.
Well, let me ask you a question, and I'm going to try. I know that I'm just going to make it really easy. What are your thoughts about Mark Jackson? And that's where Willie talks about him the most. If you're not sure about Mark Jackson, the background of the NBA, it's okay. I'm okay with it. I'd rather you just admit that you're not familiar with them, and I can accept that because I know you follow certain sports in particular. I want to just make sure that you're comfortable.
Mark Jackson, from what I'm hearing, was a mentor of someone, and if he can't promote someone from a lower level to a head coach of any sport, then he said he would take over himself, and he guesses that he's fine with it.
That's fair enough.
That's the thing in general.
Okay, Jacob, go ahead.
Well, as far as Billick, you got to realize how long it's been in his first place.
Right.
How long has it been since he's been into the coaching? Realize there's examples like John Gruden. John Gruden, before all of this happened with him, he wasn't that. I mean, he was living off of 2007 to begin with, as far as his world, and then he just wasn't that great into offense to begin with, and he was getting run past anyway. So there's that. But what would happen with Billick? As far as Mark Jackson goes, remember he's an announcer. The Disney can remember ESPN is owned by Disney. Right. They can control anything when he's the announcer, but Disney is so scared to death that he might actually, prey on the court. They're so afraid that he might offend somebody, which at some point around the Disney side they need to be offended,
right?
And they need to be offended, and they need to be offended hard and meant to be offended. So but the thing is, Mark Jackson's a basketball genius. He needs to be out there, and it's like these are the things we have to understand and get. But as far as Brenly, didn't he win 3 World Series?
Bob Brenly, I think he won the 2001, and he had a couple good years.
Yeah, I was thinking of somebody else as the 3 as far as the Giants.
Oh, you're thinking of Bruce Bochy.
Bochy, yes, thank you. But Brenly's getting older, and it's like Brenly's getting older, and it's like this is the thing. It's like how long has it been? But this is the thing also with it. Why wouldn't they just call Dusty Baker back? I'm just saying this. Why wouldn't they call? He's more recently a World Series guy, and I'm just saying this. If they were going to call Brenly, why wouldn't they just call Dusty back? He's been more recent in the first place.
Well, but Bob Brenly should have gotten the opportunities after he won the World Series. And now, after the fact, you're right, he's too older, but back then he wasn't. as soon as the Diamondbacks let him go, I'm just surprised the phone wasn't ringing. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but all I can bring up with why Jackson isn't there is because the minute I can say this, the minute ESPN would separate from Disney, you will see, and I'm not kidding you, Mark Jackson would have a job. It's because Disney is just too darn afraid of getting offended, of offending other people, and they're just ridiculous and they're stupid. But Mark Jackson should be in the court. There's no question.
Okay. Candy?
Mark Jackson was actually laid off from ESPN back in 2023. So Mark only coached for the Golden State Warriors for a short time. I think they have let's face it, ESPN went through a phase there where they've been firing a lot of their higher paid, long-term broadcasters because they can't afford it. They can't afford it with all the different streaming that's out there. ESPN doesn't have the same income coming in, I don't think, to be able to keep up and keep pace with all of the talent, because let's face it, there's Fox now, there's some other ones that are coming out that are paying and competing for these top guys. They chose to stay with Stephen A because Stephen A draws more than some of these other talents. Does Mark Jackson deserve another chance as a coach? I don't know that Mark Jackson wants really. He's a life coach. He's a pastor. So he's taken a different approach, I think, and I do think that sometimes when you go out that into the religious realm as a sports commentator, sports person, that sometimes you are looked upon very differently, and then they don't let you back in.
Okay, that's fair. All right, George.
Well, I tend to disagree. There's a report, Candy, that he would be interested in talking to the New York Knickerbockers, and that he is interested if they so care to talk to him.
Right.
But Jacob, you hit it perfectly. We all know what's going on with some of the philosophies of Disney and things like that. And it is unfortunate because he laid the groundwork for Steve Kerr. He really did. He had 2 back-to-back playoff teams there. They let him go and obviously gave the job to a Hall of Fame coach, no question about it. Kerr, we all know Kerr's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And the fact of the matter is, yes, he did go into broadcasting, but that's happened before where guys go into broadcasting and they want to go back into coaching or managing. We've seen that before. And you mentioned about, and the same with Brenly and Billick. I mean, these guys are good coaches. No question about it in my mind, all 3 of them. And Mark Jackson, say what you want. He's just a solid professional. He is religious, okay, but he's a great X's and O's guy. He's a coach, and he was a damn good coach in the NBA when he was coaching. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I'll tell you now, I have some strong words based on what everybody said. Number one, he mentored Steph Curry, period. He taught him how to play that position in the NBA. Number 2, Tom Thibodeau got fired. And what's he get fired for? Because all he did was take him to the conference finals. Really? Seriously? Really? You knew that had to come in handy. I mean, I know. He let him go because he ran the starters to the ground, and that's why he let him go. But still, if you want to get rid of a public relations debacle, bring in Jackson. Really? He's a New Yorker anyways. And I don't know if Jackson could go ahead and solve the James Dolan problem. Nobody has. That's not a problem. That's a riddle. I mean, Charles Oakley got banned out of there. He lost his season ticket because he got in an argument with this guy. But Mark Jackson, but Thibodeau gets fired for taking him to the conference finals. We know there's more to it than that. But what are you going to do if they go backwards? Then what happens?
Oh, they're already going to. They're nuts. But Willie, could you imagine if Mark was allowed to be a coach and he got and his little brother actually lost some weight? Escalade. If Escalade lost some weight and he had like Steph Curry and then that guy passing the ball. that kind of size with that kind of everything. How truthfully, the whole thing with Escalade was he was and one, but he had hands. And what he could have done with that to be able to do the coach, if you could just get him to get any discipline on that thing to be a center, it would have sort of been kind of like a Jokic Sabonis type deal for him with all those passers. Could you imagine that?
Well, I mean, you think about the whole thing. We all know about the Thibodeau story, but just think, what happens if this thing goes backwards? The Beck apple becomes a rotten apple. These New York people haven't won a championship in basketball. What, 72? That's in 1972. That's a
71.
long
71.
71. Wow.
I think I thought they won two back then under Red Holton. Was it 71, 72, and 72? I know it was early 70s, that's for sure. But that's a long time. Not that James Dolan doesn't care, but that's for another story. We have a lot of other topics to get to. I knew that when Willie brought this one up, and Mark Jackson was going to be a lightning rod, and it turned exactly to be that. So now that Taylor got his basketball lesson for the night, we're going to quiz him on it on a later date about Mark Jackson. And not Michael Jackson of the Jackson 5, but Mark Jackson, the man with the hands who was a big part of the Indiana Pacers. So just kidding with you, Taylor.
Right.
And I like this guy. He's coming a long way. All right, but I know one person that a lot of people have heard about called Caitlin Clark, haven't we? So the Caitlin Clark impact. You talk about the Fever's rivalry game versus Angel Reese, and the Chicago Sky dropped 71% on TickPick. The tickets went down from $86 to $25. The game was moved to the United Center. Now get this, you want to talk about the face of the league, the two youngest players in WNBA history to record a triple-double. Caitlin Clark on 7-6 of 24, 22 years and 166 days, and Angel Reese 23 years, 40 days. And that was just recently. So, Willie, we always talk about the WNBA. What are your thoughts about, number one, the nosedive in the ticket prices the one day? Because we all know that this woman, like Jacob has talked about, Larry Bird of women's basketball. I mean, this Caitlin Clark's financial impact is absorbent.
Yeah. And moving the game to the United Center, I could see why the drop in prices to get more people in there. And that's the impact that is Caitlin Clark. I mean, they're going to be playing the Dallas Wings on the 27th, and the Wings play their home games on the campus of the University of Texas at Arlington. But that game will be played at American Airlines Center on the 27th. And I'm not sure how much the ticket prices are, but the AAC has a capacity of about 21,000 people. And there's no reason to believe why it won't be at least 80% capacity for that game. And I think Paige Beckers has something to do with that as well. I think Enrique Ogumbalale has something to do with that as well, along with the other players as well. But we know that Caitlin Clark, she's been the draw really even before she even came out of Iowa.
No question about it. I mean, and her triple-double at such an early age is unbelievable, too. But you have Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, face of the league. You have Magic Johnson and Larry Bird all over again in this league. That's just remarkable. By the way, Kane just gives a really good comparison with CC as a Hulk Hogan of the WNBA. Pretty interesting, isn't it? I mean, I like that one. All right, Taylor.
Well, the United Center wants everyone to see the two faces of the WNBA, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. So that's why they lowered the ticket prices, just to draw more people in to see like the grandest WNBA game of them all, the WNBA matchup of them all, the Fever and the Sky, Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. They would love to keep seeing multiple matchups between the two, and if it keeps paying off, then the prices will go back up one more, like at least little by little, and that's just how the business goes.
All right, Jacob.
Well, the drop in the drop for they moved it to the United Center for the original game. Caitlin got hurt, so then they had to drop prices to try to bring people in because. But the biggest thing is a lot of people. I mean, she is the face, but there's a lot of people that despise it. That she's the face, and I'm saying this part. This isn't a white and black thing. It isn't, because if it was a white and black thing, it'd be Paige Beckers, and they'd say hating her. No. Because they know her, even though she's from Minnesota, she's Connecticut. There's a coastal thing to this. What a lot of people do not like, and they can't stand that she's the face of it, is Iowa. Just a Midwestern corn, from the cornfields.
Right.
And then playing in Indiana. And it's like, that's bringing that in the middle. And here's the deal. Don't take what I'm saying off the page on this, is because our finals right now, which is a phenomenal finals, is Indiana and Oklahoma City, two of the same types. And the coastal ESPN and coastal everything did not put their marketing machine behind them. It is the lowest rated in a long time because they didn't want to, but they wanted New York and LA. They wanted Boston and New York. They wanted all those.
Right.
They didn't want they don't want to promote the Midwest. They don't want to promote like that. They've got an arrogant attitude on it. And the thing is, they would love. I said last week that I would bet you that they're going to try to get if there would be a place in Boston for the WNBA that they try to get Caitlin Clark. I said that last week, and the ESPN would love it because they don't like the idea that Indiana has this much room on their airwaves. They don't like it. They don't like the idea that Iowa got that much when she was in college. There's just arrogance. They call them flyover states for a reason.
Interesting. I like that. It is interesting, huh, Willie?
Yeah, I actually heard something earlier today that the odds for the Pacers to win the championship are better next year than they are now.
Well,
No,
okay.
you're correct on that. It isn't the winning the thing, is they don't want to market them. They're going to admit that they're good, but they don't want to market. They want New York, LA. They want all that kind of stuff. They just got an arrogant coastal mindset.
Well, that's always been the ESPN mentality, anyways.
I hate arrogance.
Yeah, there you go. Candy.
So, how has Caitlin impacted? Clark's presence has significantly boosted WNBA revenue, with estimates placing her contribution at over a quarter of the league's total economic activity. Ticket sales, when she's on the road, have reportedly increased by as much as 140%. Merchandise sales for the WNBA have reportedly increased by 500% since her arrival, with Clark merchandise leading the way. Her games have drawn millions of viewers. We've talked about that before. The Indiana Fever's franchise value has reportedly quadrupled due to Clark's presence. Indianapolis has seen an increase in hotel bookings, tourism related to Fever games, and Clark's popularity. Some projections suggest Clark's presence could help the WNBA generate nearly $1 billion in revenue in 2025.
Good for them.
Well, there you go, Candy. There's your title, Caitlin Clark's financial impact summarized with your stats. You're great at stats.
Her success is also raising the profile of other WNBA players and the league as a whole. Great job, Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, and I hope those other players are grateful when they get bigger paychecks because of this young lady, because that's the reason that they will. And I'll leave it at that. I said my piece, and that's why I came up with the title, Caitlin Clark's financial impact. And all Candy did was just hammer with a fillet full of stats. Okay, George.
Well, there's no question about her financial impact. I mean, it's a tremendous boon to the WNBA and to basketball in general. But the thing that really bothers me is this crap going on and this dirty play and this stuff that they're doing, pushing her and shoving her and making her get angry and all this stuff going on. I know we're not going to talk about that now, but I think they better take a good look at that before too long, because I watched the replay again and again of the shenanigans from the game on Tuesday night. And all that to be said, listen, we don't protect everybody, but you do protect your stars. Let's face it, every sport does in some way and shape and form. They've done it for years and decades. All I'm saying is that she is one of your top stars. She is one of your top draws. You see these teams playing in bigger arenas now and wanting to sell out anytime she comes into town. So she means a lot to that league, and it's not necessary for them to get into cheap shot stuff with her at all. That's all I want to say on it.
Well, Herb and Raj podcast, welcome to the show. I appreciate you being a Willie supporter, and you support him. If you would kindly help us out, is please subscribe to our YouTube channel too, but Willie's takes priority over ours. We appreciate it. So as far as Caitlin Clark of this podcast, I'm going to say one thing, Herb.
I'm the Angel Reese then.
Oh.
Well, hey, listen, Herb. Yeah, please subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, South Florida Tribune. But I'm going to tell you one thing. I've known Willie a long time. If this guy is a superstar in more ways than one of the nicest people I've ever worked with, and he will be in Lessons from the Microphone Part 2. That's what I know. Yeah, he will. But hey, listen, it's okay to give props to somebody that gives you respect. Think about it. Rodney Dangerfield never got respect, and you're getting it.
Well, I like to think. I appreciate that, and I like to think that I've earned it the old-fashioned way. I earned it, and Herb and Raj are a special group, or they're a special pair of brothers. Let me tell you, and when I say brothers, I mean they're real brothers. They were part of our group a little while ago, and then they ventured out and got on their own. I love what they've been doing. What they have been doing is so refreshing. The only thing I don't like about them is that they're Alabama fans.
I hear you. Now I will say one thing about this Caitlin Clark thing. I still think it was an absolute baloney that she wasn't on the U.S. Women's Olympic team last year. I really think that was bad. But you know what? She took it in stride and got the rest. Oh, that's okay. Hey, listen, she took it in stride, and she's a lot. I'm just saying, I'm entitled in my opinion, whether anybody agrees with it or not.
Well, no,
hey, I've disagreed with before. Let's say something. Well, all right, but listen to me. I was on the wrong end of the Armando Galarraga debate, where everybody thought that they should keep his infamous perfect game there, and I thought they should change it. And I was outnumbered by about 6, 7, 8 people to 1. That's okay. And when I predicted the Indiana Pacers would win, I didn't look bad for a while, but it didn't look very good anymore. And I'll eat crow if it don't go my way. But that was a everything to gain, nothing to lose prediction. So nobody's coming for me for predictions, and I'm not worried about it because I'm not going to get assassinated if people go the other way and I'm wrong. But
how do you like your crow?
How do I what?
How do you like your crow? Do you like it fried, sauteed, fondue?
Oh, I like everything. Well, I like everything well done. Don't worry about that. I do. I mean, I can tell you how many meals I made well done, even if it wasn't by choice, but by circumstances. I can sit here and tell you about I'm going to get to a food topic in a minute, but I can tell you right now that the one thing you don't do to a grilled cheese is stick it in a microwave 4 minutes. And if you stick it in a microwave 4 minutes, you can break a triple pane window. And if you need a hammer to pound in a nail, just stick a piece of wood on top of that grilled cheese sandwich, and that nail goes in the hole, baby. I'm telling you. So as far as my crow, I'll take it well done because I know that I made a bold move. But it didn't look so bad after they won a couple of games, but all of a sudden it didn't look so good later on. And Indiana had them on the ropes in Game 5 until they got away, and we saw what happened. So it wasn't looking bad. It's not like they got swept. You got to give Rick Carlisle his due. It's just I realize that Oklahoma City's a heck of a club, and they're on the way of they could very well win. I think Tyrese Halliburton, I don't think he's playing today, is he, from what I hear? So, but either way, Indiana, like you say, Willie, is probably favored next year, much of the dismay of Disney and ESPN and whatever. So, hats off to the Pacers, even if everybody on the panel is right and I'm wrong. I'll deal with it. But I'll deal with this too. One of my favorite segments in the show are the non-sports topics. And boy, I love to put a lot of work into these guys. So when Willie told me, give it to me basic with the text messages, that means he didn't get to see these either. So here we're going to do. Let's have a little bit of fun with the non-sports topics that anybody that wants to come in. I'm not going on the road around the horn here because I want to get to the other stuff. But item number 1, okay, non-sports topic. Look at Willie. Put that hand on the face. Put the head down. Oh, God. What's this Scooter coming up with this time? Oh, my goodness. Oh, Nelly, as Keith Jackson would say. Okay, we got a little Keith Jackson in here. Everybody can tell that I'm getting ready for a trip. Not
Hey,
worth that.
You're tripping right now.
Oh,
I
I'm
think
tripping.
you already. I think you already on the trip.
Well, I'll tell you one place I'm not going to, though, is I'm not going to Japan, but I'll tell you one thing about Japan. They are developing floating houses that lift off the ground during earthquakes, briefly when the tremor is hit by air, developed by Danshin Systems. How about that? Floating houses, people, to avoid earthquakes. You heard that one? Floating houses.
That's a new one to me.
That's new
I'll
to
be
me
on a
too.
cruise, so we won't. That'll be floating too. But floating
It'll be
houses are
expensive.
Is that a published
California
book?
needs to do it. California needs these floating homes. They won't have to worry about the earthquakes every 5 minutes.
No. I guarantee you, if you tell California they need to get floating homes, there will be some special interest that'll say no to it for whatever reason. And the
I
real
get
reason
you,
is-
but we're talking about Japan.
no,
We're
no,
not
but
talking
you're saying
about
California.
California,
needs
talking
Oh,
it.
I know. I'm
Japan.
talking about them too. Yeah, floating houses. I never heard of them before until the Japanese came up with it. But if you think that
Well-
one's interesting, I got something even better than this one.
Okay.
Really better than floating houses. A man named Joel Berger, okay, married a woman named Ashley King, okay, and Burger King paid for the whole wedding. Source Inside History. I mentioned this because there will be no shortage of buffets on our cruise. So there we go, people. Now, this may not be a good one for some people, and it was too good to pass up, and it was so appropriate that time that we're going there that I have to tell you, breaking news, okay, that Joel Berger married a woman named Ashley King, and Burger King paid for the whole wedding. Don't expect me. Yeah, all right. Well, whatever. I'm putting it out there.
Good move.
All right. What do you? Now, Willie, mute doesn't go ahead and allow you to go ahead and stick it to me, but non-mute does.
No. I need you to put up the last comment from this person, David, whoever he is.
Black woman just need a wake-up call. Everyone is sick. Really?
I don't take that.
don't
He's
like that
obviously
one.
not married to a black woman.
Well,
Oh, I didn't know whether he liked my Burger King joke. Well, first of all, before you comment on that, what are your thoughts about Joel Berger marrying? What do we got? Joel Berger. I think I can't even remember marrying Ashley King. Give me something there.
it was a whopper of a wedding.
Ooh.
Ooh, that was awesome, baby. That's the Millie way. That's a Willie
Just
Mae
wait till
way.
they have kids and it's a junior whopper.
I had a junior whopper tonight.
Willie Empty just became a say hey kid, man. Willie Mays. He
Kenny
caught that
didn't
one
think that
behind
was
the back.
Look at Kenny's face. Oh my gosh.
Look at it. Say that again. I need to hear it. Say that again.
It was a whopper of a wedding.
As Dick Vitale would say, awesome, baby. All right. Anybody else want to comment on either of these two wild ones? We got floating houses and we got whoppers only on the Sports Exchange tonight on 6/18/2025, 48 hours before I go ahead and head out to the other side of the world. Wake up, people in the world. The Motor City Madmouth is coming to your area, even if you may not understand anything I have to say. But when I stick a microphone in front of your face, you'll know what it is. See, a microphone is, I wear this. I'm religious here, okay? Everybody has, a microphone is like a lollipop. I can never have enough of it. Go ahead, Will.
Scooter. On a real serious note,
Yeah.
you probably need to block this guy, David.
Yeah, I think Candy, it would be a very good idea. David Yacarino,
Yeah.
you just
He's
got the curse of the Bambino, meaning see ya. And you know what we call that in regular radio, though, Willie? And George Eichhorn would say it's called vaporized.
Well,
Vaporize.
when we had bad
today's
calls.
in today's world, they call it gaslighting.
Ooh.
Well, you know what people when they talk about we have American history and then this guy is history. We get the drill.
Yeah.
Candy's getting the ban button really down because she's had to use it recently. Those are my non-sports topics of the night. And those that didn't want to comment were smart. And the one man that commented on Burger King was even smarter because he had a whopper of a response.
Well, no, Jacob also said that they had
Go
kids.
ahead.
They would be junior whoppers if they had kids. So
Oh,
I
there you
thought that
go.
was-
I didn't. That was
They're doing it
all
their
right,
way.
Jacob. That a point. That a point. What's that, Candy?
I said they're doing,
doing
it their way.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. All right.
Have it
All right, now
your
the
way.
Burger King analogies are coming. But you know what? I'll say this as I close the topic, okay? Joel Berger, Ashley King, I hope you have an awful lot of great Whoppers and Whopper Juniors because you know something? Don't forget those fries either and all the other stuff that you can get. But and Candy and I, we don't know how many buffets we're gonna hit, but I won't be no Burger King on this ship. This cruise is too expensive to have a Burger King on it. All right, all right. Kane says you're not going to get banned. You're class act, but this other guy just kind of wrote it a little too far. It takes a lot to get banned from this, though, but evidently that David Y walked the plank, as they say, from a guy wearing a pirate's hat. Right? Okay. With that said, we're going to my town. All right. And I'm going to start off with this one, too, and then I'm going to turn it over to everybody else. Okay. I'm going to Detroit, though, first. Dennis Schroeder this season started with the Brooklyn Nets, traded to the Warriors, traded to the Jazz, traded to the Pistons, and what was his reward? A trip to the NBA playoffs. Another thing in my neck of the wood, Florida and Miami are finalizing an agreement to play a neutral site game this season in Jacksonville. The defending NCAA men's basketball champions will take on the Miami Hurricanes out in Jacksonville. That's great. We see these guys meet on the field a lot. It's good to hopefully see them on the hard court. So kudos to them for being able to do that. And again, as I mentioned before, Dennis Schroeder, and who knows, George, where he's going to land, but at least he landed in the playoffs this year. That's my town. Willie, what's yours?
Well, I'm going to go to the photo in my background.
Okay.
And even though I live in Dallas, I grew up the first part of my life in that place where you see in my background. So,
The Oakland Coliseum.
well, in the first part of what you just said, not the Coliseum literally, but not that far though, not that far from the Coliseum. The fact that there are no more major professional sports franchises in the East Bay, to me, has signaled the end of sports. This is sports Armageddon at its worst. Of course, I am over exaggerating simply because I still love that city. I still love the Raiders. I still love the A's. I don't care if they can play on the moon or play on Mars or wherever. Those are going to always be my teams. And people would ask me, well, since the Raiders have moved to Vegas, are you still a team? Are you still a fan? And you know what? I had to think about that for a second. So was my affinity for the town or was it for the franchise? And I think for me at that time, it was for the city, but the city is, I should say, the town is deserving of these teams leaving because they did nothing. I shouldn't say no. Well, the town did nothing significant to keep the A's, the Raiders, and even the Warriors to a degree in Oakland.
Fans didn't either.
Well, if there's any consolation to it, they got cricket. Kidding.
I said major.
I'm kidding
sport.
with you. It's major everywhere else but here, but I don't even know how to play the game. I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to make light. I'm in a good mood. I'm ready to travel. I'm not going to have sports. I'm not going to have a lot of communication, so I'm getting it out of my system tonight with all my favorite people tonight. Great take, though, Willie. That was fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I've been to Oakland. I've actually been to both of those buildings, and I'll tell you one thing. I saw a Raiders game over at that place, and boy, it was it was an unbelievable place to go. And I saw the Warriors play, and they packed that place. So you feel the void there, and there's no question about Oakland did nothing to keep it. That's a shame. And amazingly enough, both of those teams landed in Vegas. Go figure.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, Taylor, what's my town?
Well, the Tigers, of course, again as usual, that they still have the best record in all of Major League Baseball, 47-27. They lead the Cubs and the Mets each by a game and a half for that top of the heap. Cubs and Mets are 45-28. The Tigers let the series versus the Reds get away, but they rebounded nicely with a 7-3 win over the lowly Pittsburgh Pirates. Sorry, Willie, but yeah, they did. Tarek Skubal was supposed to pitch tonight, but that game was rained out. But there was a doubleheader. Skubal will pitch in game 1. Paul Skeens will pitch in game 2. Yes, most people would have thought that Skubal Skeens versus Skeens would have been a hot ticket. But seriously, the main goal is to win the World Series, no matter what the circumstances, no matter what the matches. Just take take the cards you're dealt with and try to make the most of it. Period. And just roll on from there.
Okay, Jacob, in your town.
Well, 3 things done to the town. First off, the Braves won tonight over. The Braves beat the Mets tonight 5-0. So there's that part right there. So they're trying to bring themselves back. Second thing is that there's officially most likely, and I will say it again, probably going to have hockey in Atlanta. So regardless of anything, it's going to tear. If it doesn't work out, one good thing that comes from this is going to tear down one of those ridiculous out-of-date malls that they have about 2 miles from me.
Right.
So at least it's going to look a lot better in that area. Third thing, the whole of the Falcons fan base getting so excited for Michael Penix. Okay, you have every right. You have every right. The guy's got a wonderful arm, tremendous arm, tremendous everything. He's got Bijan around him, so they could have a really good offense for next year. But here's the deal, and I'm just saying this whatsoever because this is what fans do, and they forget about this. If you're going to keep bringing up Tyler Shuck, and by the way, he is a lot better than Tyler Shuck. I thought Tyler Shuck as a second rounder was ridiculous. But here's the thing. If you're going to keep bringing up Tyler Shuck having 3 season-ending surgeries in college, you got to bring up Penix's 2. You got to bring up Penix's 2, but they refuse. You don't want that conversation. And that's the biggest issue that they got to remember on this. It's like, that's why you keep Kirk Cousins around. You just don't know.
Candy?
So I'm going to do 2 because, I'm going to start with Wisconsin. The winningest Wisconsin basketball coach in state history, Jerry Pettigrew, died at the age of 84. He coached for over 60 years. And like I said, he was the winningest coach. So RIP to him and all that he coached. Now, we all know what happened last night, the Stanley Cup. So here, Miami, here's a wake-up call. In the last 30 years, the Heat have had 3 titles. The Miami Marlins have had 2 titles. Now, the Florida Panthers have 2 titles. Miami Dolphins, where are you the last 30 years? What have you done? 0 AFC championship appearances at all. Get your act together, Miami Dolphins, and do something about it.
Well, I'll add a footnote to the Miami thing. Clayton McCullough, by the way, was just announced as a coach for the American National League All-Star team. He'll rejoin Dave Roberts. He was a coach in the Dodgers last year where he got the Miami job. So Clayton McCullough, good job. He's a great person. He really is, Willie. You want to talk about one of the nicest guys to work with, Clayton McCullough's class. I love it every time I go there. He said, bring on your tough questions, and called me Scott. He knows my name by now, this guy. And right, Candy, he knows me by name real well. They all know me well down there. Oh, hey, Scott, how you doing? I'm ready for you. Boom, 2 or 3, pop them right down the middle, baby. I'm telling you, he does. So glad you're going to the All-Star game.
I also do want to say congratulations to Bill Zito. And I really give you the credit for the Panthers because You brought to Chuck, you brought Brad Marchand, you brought Sam Bennett, you brought Sam Reinhart, you brought so many of their key players to the Panthers. You deserve that win. And kudos to the Panthers for going out and sharing this celebration. I've seen pictures where one of the team members took the Stanley Cup to his neighbors and was knocking on doors. Look, here's the like bringing it to the fans, bringing it to the local people so that they get a sense of it and can share in the excitement. That's what it's about, because the fans, if you don't have the fans, then, what do you have? So I really like that part of it.
Okay, George, and cap it off, and then we'll.
Well, there's no joy in Mudville. The old saying went as Mighty Casey struck out. Well, there's no joy in Hockey Town because, again, Steve Yzerman and Christopher Illich have struck out. Here we are again watching on television another team, the back-to-back champion Panthers, do all the celebrating while Hockey Town is quiet. And again, the Detroit Red Wings are just in a situation that nobody could have guessed would happen. When things were flying high and Stanley Cup banners were being flown from Joe Louis Arena and Stanley Cups were being kissed at Hockey Town Cafe, I went through all that. Scott knows, all you guys know that the Red Wings were the talk of the NHL, but then all of a sudden, salary caps, salary control, things happen, and things went really bad in Detroit all of a sudden. But the fact of the matter is there's still hope. This team has such an unbelievably loyal subscriber and season ticket base. So there is hope. There's hope in Hockey Town. Maybe something can happen, but boy, oh boy, Yzerman's got to make some moves this offseason, no question about it, because this Detroit team cannot go another year without missing the playoffs. Because if you don't know this, in 2025-26 is the 100th anniversary. And Scott and I are going to get Ken Kell, the voice of the Red Wings, on a future show on Sports Wrap. But he's going to talk about that, the 100th anniversary, and what the Red Wings are going to celebrate. But they got to celebrate with making the playoffs. That'll be the best gift they could give Detroit. Thank you.
Hire
Katie,
Scotty
gotta
Bowman
earn it.
again.
What's that?
Hire Scotty Bowman again.
There they go. All right, Katie, go to a station break there. Guys,
Gotta earn it.
David ended up getting a timeout. So if you want to put that up, will you be the judge if you think that should go up?
They have Todd McClellan.
He's apologizing that it wasn't him using it, and he apologizes. So
Okay, fair enough. He got timeout. You give us station breaks. We can take this time out. A few more topics. Want to make sure we get out of here by 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're on track to do so. And I'll guarantee I will move this show along very quickly.
David needs new friends. Sorry.
Yep.
No problem. Good enough. We'll accept that.
Self-Ported Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, and the foreword was written by another panelist, George Eichhorn. Talks about Scott's 40-plus years in the industry and how old school media is versus new school media, how it's changed and evolved. Go get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where you can get a link to the book, a link to our merchandise store, as well as a plethora of great content. So go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you see the red subscribe button, click it, like us, share it with all your friends and family. If you want to advertise or sponsor a show, call Scott, 954-304-4941. And if you want to be a guest on the show, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com.
Okay. Willie, quick question. Have you ever been to Dubai?
Yes.
Good.
Yes. We went last year.
Well, you know what? Here's a great Dubai story that I want to put out there. Just a great thing that came across my wire. So since you went there last year, this may give people a reason to want to go there and maybe not stay here if you don't like it. But here's the deal. But just look at the salary looking like, when you talk about the salary that looks like after taxes, get this. The gross income we're talking about is $1,000 federal tax. You end up at zero. State tax and Social Security ends up at zero. Medicare tax is zero. Total tax is zero. Net income 1 million. Okay, so we're talking about 1 million zero. So the tax rate is 0%. It don't get any better than that, people. 0% taxes, right, Willie? I mean, think about it. $1 million takes you a long way if you don't have to worry about being taxed.
That is
Anybody have
very
any-
true.
Yeah, I pulled that out here because I think you once told me you went to Dubai, and when this came across my eyes, I had to put it up there. So I'll repeat for those of you that are on audio that know that I went a little too quick. So you're talking about looking like after taxes with your gross income being $1 million, federal tax zero. Well, zero's across the board between your gross income, federal tax, state tax, Social Security, Medicare tax, total taxes, net income $1 million, tax rate 0%. Now that's the kind of goose egg you want to have, everybody. 0%. Any questions, comments, or objections to this? I want some of that 0% tax. Candy, put that one on the board. Kane Sisk is a BRILLINT person. All right. That's the Dubai story. Now we're going back to the baseball part of the program because we do like to talk baseball. Baseball notes, May 1st, 1991. Excuse me. Ricky Henderson passes Lou Brock for first place on the all-time list. And then, obviously, April 23rd, 1987, Vince Coleman steals home in the first inning against the New York Mets. And they end up winning. The Mets win a slugfest 12-9. So what are your thoughts about the King of Steals? You got Vince Coleman goes out there, and he steals home. And we know that Ricky Henderson, who played in that place behind Willie, stole a lot of bags. So, and you know what? I'm stealing 2 good weeks with Candy, where nobody had to worry about me for a while, and I apologize for nothing. So, Willie, you're a baseball guy. We're talking about Ricky Henderson. We're talking about Lou Brock, who was the first on the all-time list. How do you like that for stealing a couple topics off of Instagram, which is my source sometimes? There you go. You have it.
Get it. I get it. I can dig it. You talk about records, not just in baseball, but in sports that will probably never be broken. And Ricky Henderson holds 2 of them with the all-time steals record and then the most stolen bases in a season. I think he was 140 out of maybe 155 or something like that. But if you look at that, that is almost 1 stolen base per game. You might be lucky if you get a team to steal 1 base in a game these days. And Vince Coleman, I think he was actually faster than Ricky. Actually, between Vince Coleman, Ricky Henderson, and Lou Brock, Ricky Henderson was probably the slowest of the 3.
Wow.
St. Louis Cardinals, Vince Coleman steals home. It didn't matter. Mets win it anyways. Go figure. Candy, how many stolen bases did Ricky Henderson have?
He has 130. He had in the single season record for stolen bases was 130 in 1982. He's the only player in AL history to steal 100 bases in a season, having done so 3 times, 80, 82, and 83. His 1,406 career steals is 50% higher than the previous record of 938 by Lou Brock.
There you go. Now you have it. 938 for Lou Brock. I actually met him.
That's
I think,
truth
years
right
ago
there.
over
That's
at
true.
Riverfront Stadium. I actually met him at Riverfront Stadium many years ago when I was covering the Dodgers and the Reds, and he was actually there for an old timers game. So Lou Brock, and of course Ricky Henderson, 1,406 steals. Rest in peace, Ricky. We lost him late last year. So, George, you have any thoughts about these 2 incredibly fast stealing individuals?
No, I just I can remember Lou Brock way back in the '68 World Series against the Tigers, and
Right.
you know his famous the famous arm of Willie Horton in left field throwing out Lou Brock at home plate. But other than that, I mean, this guy had a phenomenal career. I mean, I admired them. I mean, and a little bit of jealousy too, because we all know how slow-footed the Tigers were, with the exception of Jake Wood or Ron LaFleur. But you know, those guys were just incredible. You mentioned 3 great ones there: Vince Coleman, And then, of course, Brock and Ricky Henderson, just great athletes. And they changed the game, the complexity of the game. The game changed. And I wish there would be more stealing now. Like you said, Willie, there's just teams that just don't do it. And Detroit's one of them that does very little stealing.
Any thoughts about this one, Taylor?
Well, Ricky Henderson, of course, is still the fastest ever in my eyes. No matter what people say, and Candy pointed this out, 50% higher than Lou Brock historically of all time. That proves it right there. End of story.
Here we go. Jacob, you have a story to follow him before we go to the next baseball
My favorite
topic?
story of Ricky Henderson when they showed a John 316 sign. He says, "I'm not interested in John hitting 316. I'm Ricky hitting 330."
Okay, fair enough.
I enjoyed that one from him. It's like all those, but really overall, you got to think about this too. With Vince Coleman, he only played 12 years. He had 12 years and 750 stolen bases.
I think he had a gruesome leg injury too, didn't he, Willie?
did.
Yeah,
And
I don't think it was ever the same after that injury, but
Oh, absolutely. But think of it this way: he had probably 60% of his steals with Whitey Herzog.
Yeah, I believe
He
that.
had- he had
We all know
60%
that
of
Whitey.
his steals. Yeah.
We all know that Whitey was big on the running game. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's like
definitely.
he had 60% of those and all that kind of stuff. Ricky had 1,406 in 25 seasons. That just shows he was an absolute athlete. But really, overall, what if Vince got 25? Could he have broken 1,600, 1,700 if he would have had just enough, or he had people that would have stolen bases? That's 750 in 12 years. So could he have busted it if he didn't have those gruesome leg injuries?
Oh yeah, no, I mean that's true. That'll be a debate that lingers on forever. All right, let's go to Shohei Ohtani, who made his first appearance on the hill earlier in the week. Obviously, his ERA is 9.001 run versus San Diego. 1 inning pitch, 2 hits, 1 wild pitch, 1 sacrifice fly, no walks and no strikeouts. So, all right, Willie, what are your thoughts about his debut? It's been a while, Tommy John surgery and all, but it was good to see him out there. And I just wonder how much longer he's going to pitch. But as long as he can, I'm sure they will, about his debut.
Yeah, as a fan of the sport, I love to see it, but at the same time, as a fan who absolutely despises the Dodgers, I don't have to ever see him pitch again. But that's just me.
Oh, that's okay. That's fair. What about you, Taylor? What do you thought about his first act out on the hill?
He's only getting warmed up. That's one thing for sure. I think he'll redevelop as a pitcher, but for now as a hitter, he's been invincible. That's the truth.
Okay, Jacob.
He can't. I mean, we know what he is on this, but he's going to get himself older. And when you get older, it's just a little bit of an issue. I say if he's in a World Series again, use him as an extra pitcher. I mean, he did that 1 inning this last time or whatever, and he might be a heck of a weapon in the World Series. You know, for something along those lines. But I don't want 6-7 innings out of him anymore. I really don't. Especially there might be a time especially now with Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is in the 380s, 370s, 390s, that whatever. You don't think that Shohei Ohtani is not capable of that? It's like but he's not going to get those while he's pitching also. And then you could also affect him if he has to do another Tommy John somewhere down the line. I say quit trying to beat Babe Ruth's records and do all that kind of stuff because you're both at 94 wins. Quit doing all that and just focus. He's got his ring. Go for some more rings.
Fair enough. Candy?
His first pitch was 97.6 mile per hour fastball, low in the strike zone. He only threw 28 pitches, but he threw 100.2 on the radar gun in his first outing back. I mean, as I've sat and watched Sandy Alcantara, he came back from Tommy John, and this is his first year back again. And he had the same similar outing as Shohei did in the beginning. They're not as effective. It takes time. We can't expect these guys that were Cy Young Award winners before to come back and just have it lights out right from the start. Yes, the speed is there, but their effectiveness just isn't there. And Sandy is having a hard year coming back from this and having the same results as what he had before. I'm just going to say it. I think I read a stat the other day that 36% of the major league pitchers have had Tommy John surgery at this point that are playing out there right now.
Fair enough. George, you have a final word on the topic.
August 23rd, 2023. And that was when the last time he pitched in a big league game. I'm not disappointed, Scott. I think that he did okay. Obviously, there was not a lot of pressure on him in the first inning, as opposed to bringing him in to clean up or save a game. They did not want to do that, of course. But the jury is still out. Let's face it. I mean, we know what he can do as a hitter, as a slugger. A tremendous effect on the game and in the Dodgers lineup. So I'm sure that they're going to take a very cautious approach to this. That's all I'm saying.
What we're going to do right now is we're going to give everybody an opportunity to their parting shots. I'm going to leave Jacob with his fun toward the very end, because I like giving him the final word on a lot of things, because obviously he has some pretty good topics. Fair enough. That's how we'll do it. So we'll start off with our parting shots. I'm going to lead off this time because this is something that I think is really important, that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And you're going to understand what I mean in just a moment. The Florida Board of Governors has rejected former Michigan President Santo Ono for the presidency of the University of Florida. A learning experience for problems. The learning experience for the whole thing is your problems catch up with you when you run from them, which is very, very true. Whatever problems he had, you can't go ahead and think you're going to leave Ann Arbor and the snow and the ice and expect to go to the beaches anywhere else, because it isn't that way. Because here's the thing, he had actually come under criticism from conservatives in Florida who were troubled by his previous support of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. And when you run across those problems, you leave a president's job at Michigan, you go to Florida, and then you don't get it. That problem, because where is he going next? Michigan's not bringing him back, and Florida didn't want him. Sorry, you got a national championship in Ann Arbor, and the swamp doesn't want you. No Billy Napier, but you had Jim Harbaugh. Go figure, Santo. I wish you well at your next occupation, because it's not going to be in Gainesville, and you're not going back to Ann Arbor. All right, Willie, what are your parting shots? Well, I mean, if I can hear. Okay.
Since you brought up diversity, equity, and inclusion, let me say this, and I'm not going to get political or churchy or any of those things,
Okay.
because for me, it's a matter of right and wrong. Okay. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your political affiliation is. I could care less if you are a liberal or if you are a conservative or if you are a moderate. I don't care who you love. I don't care about the person that you love and what they look like. I don't care about any of those things. And if anybody knows me after doing shows for all these years, they know that. So for the guy that came on earlier and said what he said, you know, if you want me to look at who you are, show me your friends.
Right.
So if your friends are saying that and you're friends with them, then to me, you are more than complicit in the situation and you become a part of the problem and not the solution. People like me that look like me, we are trying to be a part of a solution that I don't think we're ever going to see in my lifetime. And that is okay. But that does not mean that I'm going to stop. Earlier today on Twitter, I posted a quote and it basically said this: in order for us to become what we want to become, we have to unbecome what we currently are. And some people are just so set in their ways to where they don't even have the mental aptitude to see past their raggedy selves. And I've been there. to see past our raggedy selves in order to find out that, you know what, there's way more things that we have in common than people think.
Excellent take. It really is, Willie. Thanks for coming behind this person who got in here. And it's just too bad we had to see it tonight, but I'm glad that you were able to make voice a strong opinion. And I think what you did there is absolutely dynamite. I really do, Willie. And as for Santo Ono, no, this is a great thing. If I bring up certain controversial topics, I love it when you come back behind me, okay? And that's why I always lean on you for these first, because I expect that thing called great minds think alike, and you seem to have that one down pat. It's okay if I come up with a topic and you have something that comes to mind and bring it out. That's what I love about you, Willie. I swear to God, as a friend and a brother, you and I both understand a lot of things. We've lived a lot in a lot of different levels, and that's just unbelievable. You deserve to be applauded for that. And if Martin Luther King could give you a hug, he'd do it wherever he's at. Rest in peace, Dr. King. But Dr. King, just so you know, the University of Florida does have a nice campus at the Swamp. That's what it is. Okay, Taylor, what's your prediction?
Well, I heard George mention and talk about the Red Wings while the Panthers were won back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. I got to remind you and Jacob, the Red Wings already have Todd McClellan as their head coach. He reminded the team, he reminded the media that the team was lacking toughness, and that's exactly what they actually need to have, no matter how they fare in this upcoming NHL, now current NHL offseason, whether it's the draft or free agency. They have to play tougher and not be a bunch of whiny prissies, if you know what I mean. Dylan Larkin, for example, has to be better for any adversity on the ice, whether it be on or off the ice, whether it be against the referees being against him and his mind, or not gaining any momentum at the trade deadline. Get over that stuff, Dylan. Like I mentioned before, get tougher physically and mentally, and be more aggressive on the ice, and you'll have more chances to win and make the playoffs. Earn it, period.
There you go. Give me that passion, Taylor. Earn it. Deal with it. Good stuff. George Eichhorn. We'll leave Jacob last because then he gets his fun moment as well as a parting shot. 2 for the price of 1.
Same,
All right, go ahead, George.
Well, one
One
of
and
the
the same.
things that we see a lot is the contraction of our sports broadcasters. And this one really hits home for me and Scott. You know, we saw John Keating having to retire. We saw Mickey York being forced out of his job. And now our dear friend Trevor Thompson is losing his job as commentator for what we now call FanDuel Sports in Detroit. Used to be.
Well, it's not a commentator; it's a reporter. It's an outside reporter.
Okay, this is my time. Okay,
Hey, Taylor.
Cool.
Okay. He can say whatever he wants. You had your pick.
Trevor Thompson is a man that should not be treated this way, and neither should Mickey York or John Keating. I know, John, you said you officially retired, but I'm sorry. I don't know if that's 100% true, but I'll take you at your word. We are sick of sports broadcasters who earn their keep in this town being forced to retire, like Bernie Smilovitz, or being shoved out the door. And it's just getting ridiculous, and it has to stop. You know, you have budgets. Yeah, I know that. And you have only certain amount of money to go around. But listen, Detroit is one of the top sports towns in America. We know that. We always have. So what you got to do is you got to make sure you have room and put on the air these great voices. Don't take them off the air. Keep them on the air. That's it.
Well, I've always told Trevor Thompson the best thing that can happen to you now is you get a hockey job nationally. He's that good. I think if Trevor will, I'll probably reach out to him with Nick there, so let him know I'm leaving town, but I'm thinking about him. So, and I'll send him some great videos all over the place of me going crazy, and he'll see it. Hey, at least you can travel. But anyway, I love Trevor Thompson. I love them all, but Trevor's like a brother to me. Every time I get sick, he's always praying. It seems like he's praying every time anyway, but still. Trevor Thompson, if you ever meet this guy, to me, he's a person that you can always look for. How do you define the word class? TREVORTHOMPSON. Trevor, if you're a subscriber to this, which I think you are, you're hearing it, and you're going to hear it from me any day through text. God love you, Trevor. Okay, on to Candy, and then Jacob, and then he gets a fun moment. And and I'm planning to get Willie out by bedtime, so I better keep my big mouth shut and do more of my talking on the road. Katie, take it.
I know we talked a little bit about this yesterday on Inside the Pigskin, but I just want to say congratulations to Cornell Powell. He is now the first player in history to win a college football national championship twice, two-time Super Bowl champion, and if you didn't know this, he won a UFL championship on this past weekend with the DC Defenders. First person to do all three of those. So kudos to him.
All right. Well, I'm going to say my reinforcement moment of the show. Go to Dubai. 0 taxes, people. Had to get that in it. Go ahead, Jacob, because I know you're going to get your parting shot, then you get your funded fund.
Yeah, one in the same. One in the
Taxes.
same. Stephen A. Smith. People are going up to you a little bit for the whole playing solitaire on a timeout of the Indiana and Oklahoma City game. We know why. A lot of it is jealousy. You are making your hundreds of millions. But here's the thing, though. I don't have an issue with it myself, but personally, here's the thing from it. It looks lazy. You were a journalist and a very, 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 very hardworking journalist for a long time. You worked your way up to where you are right now. But now you look like you basically look like the guy who got $200 million and hits 234. You look. That's what it looks like to a lot of people. If you're in basketball, you're fine, but other subjects, you're nothing. You don't study. And that's the big thing. But here's the big deal about this, too. You're looking to do politics. You're looking to get yourself as a possible presidential candidate. And no matter what you're saying, that's what you're looking into, because you're showing up on Bill Maher and you're showing up in all these other places. This ain't going to help you. This isn't going to help you whatsoever, because people are going to show in the middle of all that, they're going to show you with that phone in your hand, doing that in the middle of the timeout instead of, studying things. They're going to wonder if you're going to do that during anything in the White House, any kind of meeting, any of that kind of stuff. When you do something like that, and you're shown on camera, it looks like you're handed everything, even though you weren't. You weren't handed everything. You worked for so many years. You had to get fired from ESPN one time. You've worked your way up, but this isn't a world that this is a world that has like a fish. Basically they have the what's the word for it? They like this. Anyway, I'm thinking about it for a second here, but they have the they basically have an 8-second attention span. They have the attention span of a fish, 8 seconds. They're not going to remember those times that you were. They're not. They're just going to remember the now. And they're going to show that little thing in their hand doing that kind of stuff. You're going to wonder, are you going to do that in the White House? Say that you won. And trust me, who we have in the White House now, yes, you can win. Because it's a celebrity deal. You can. So this is the crazy thing. Snoop Dogg could win now. You can't tell. So if you want to be ready for this world and you want to get your $100 million, you might want to grind a little more and quit looking like it's handed to you. Quit acting like the 234 hitter after you got your money. Start working a little bit. That's the big thing. Because if you really want to go to another level like that, if you truly want to, you got to get yourself out there, and you've got to be able, and you've got to grind one more time.
That's really good. I enjoyed that. Is that your parting shot?
Yeah,
your
I said one and the same, yeah.
Oh, they're all in the same. Okay. How powerful was that, Willie? What do you think? As Jimmy Walker would say, that is dynamite! See, am I loaded with all kinds of energy at the age of 62? Look at Willie, he's laughing. I love you, Willie. You know how I feel about your brother. It is what it is. Dynamite! Good times. That's what we're having tonight here on the Sports Exchange. And we'll do it again on July 9th. Same group, different topics. I'll be crazier, only with more stories and crazier.
I think
That
Candy
says-
knows you're crazy anyway.
Well, that's okay. So tell her something new. Okay, it is what it is. But, all right, with that said, we have a little time for everybody to let everyone know how they get hold of us. And we'll start off with my right-hand man, my co-host, Willie Epping. Go ahead, Willie. Let everyone know how they get hold of you.
Oh, I thought I was done.
No, you're not done. Let everybody know how to find you. You want to be done? Get your ID and information.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
hitting a heck of an audience. Not too bad. Let's let all the 250 people that are kindly watching us tonight, let them know how they get a hold of the Shake Back Man.
Is it that many? Man.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good on this show. We draw good ratings on this show. Between
That
your
is-
channel and my channel, we do some really good stuff.
That's
Scary thought.
wild. That's wild. I mean,
Yeah.
for people to tune in to this crew, this Molly crew for that long, wow, that's amazing.
We must be doing something.
I'm just joking, guys. You
I'm
guys
just
are.
saying-
Well, wait a minute.
myself.
We must be doing something right. We're entertaining. You know, we have to information and entertain. Go ahead, get your information out to all of these.
I think that's what it is, because it certainly can't be intelligence with me and you, Scooter. So I don't know. Anyway,
Well, let's write it while we think it's good anyway. Just be a humble pie. I already have to have my humble pie and all that crow well done. So take it from there and let me know.
all right. So Shakeback Media Group on Twitter I can't spell it out because they only allow so many characters. So it's SHKBKMEDIAGRP. Shakeback Media Group spelled out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, on TikTok. It is at Coach Willie. We also have, my wife and I, Patrice, have Don't Jump Life Coaching Solutions, Don't Jump.net, and Don't Jump on all social media platforms. Well, on Facebook and Instagram. I think
Kane
that's it.
says much respect, Willie.
Thank you, Kane. I appreciate that, man. That means a lot.
Yeah, he does. Kane, your involvement in the chat room means a lot too. But yeah, Willie, he speaks for all of us. We have more respect and love for you than anything. That's why we love having you as my co-host on Wednesday night here on the Sports Exchange. Willie is the designated co-host. Everybody else, we all have a good time. I got Gordon, got Candy, you got Taylor, got Jacob. That doesn't change except when we're not doing it, which won't be until July 9th. Taylor, get it up there real quick. We have another couple minute or so left in the show.
All right. Well, Kane, listen to this. I'm the creator of the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast, detecting truth about the Tigers, Lions, Red Wings, Pistons, Wolverines, and Spartans. You can subscribe to its YouTube channel at the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. Listen to it in audio format: Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music /Audible, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, and JioSaavn from overseas. Also on social media, follow it on X, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Michigan_Truth, and like its Facebook page. By the way, special shout out goes to a local friend of mine in Cadillac, Chris Krzyzewski, for becoming a supporter of my Spreaker podcast platform. Just $2 a month. Spread the word.
Okay, Jacob, go ahead. Willie, you got another minute and a half here. We have to get going.
Jacob
You're okay
Christner on
for another minute?
Jacob Christner on Facebook, Sideline One Sports on TikTok. Also, I'm on Jacob Christner on Instagram, even though I'm not on there a whole bunch, and working on some other platforms. Plus, I'm also working on an interview, first interview back with something pretty special. I'm not going to say who it is yet, but the guy's pretty awesome. He's been one of my friends for a long time, and he's had a pretty big life. So it'll be a great one. So I'm looking forward. Plus, I'm possibly going to be on a short film soon.
Okay, and George Eichhorn's got a book, also Programming Notes. Sports
Yep.
Wrap will be on at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll talk about the Stanley Cup. George, real quick, Candy will put the book up for mine and yours, and then that'll end it for us for at least a couple of weeks. Go ahead, George.
Real quickly, yep. Follow me at the South Florida Tribune website under the contributor section. At the end of my column is a link to this book, Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air. If you care to buy it, we appreciate that. And you can follow me on 108 Stitches Baseball, the Sports Wrap, the Sports Exchange, all these great programs. So good to be part of the show. Thank you.
All right, Candy, you just put our book up, and we'll end it here. And
Lessons from the microphone. Lessons from the microphone. Tuning into the enduring wisdom of visionary leaders, written by Scott, forward by George, and get your copy. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kindle, and on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com.
And all these people on this incredible show will be in the next version when I start working on it later in the year. So with that said, I want to thank everybody for joining us on this edition of the Sports Exchange. On behalf of Willie Epting, Taylor Phillips, Jacob Christner, Candy Ebling, and George Eichhorn, my name is Scott Morgan off the Motor City Mad Mouth. Thank you for joining us. We will be back on July 9th to do this. In the meantime, I hope you had a great night. We'll have a lot more great timely topics as well as some of my favorite topics of non-sports topics. Hope you'll be out there to see what else I come up with. Good night, everybody. Willie, God bless. You are awesome, baby. And your take after me was one for the ages. Thank you very much for putting it out there. It was a message that needed to be sent, and I'm so proud of you that you did it. Thank you, Willie. You know how much you mean to me in the show. You know I love you, and don't you ever forget it, Willie. Okay, please? All right? All right, God bless. From Scooter, Willie, and the rest. God night, everybody. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye now.